Welcome to Drinkin and Drivin. Here at Drinkin and Drivin, we'd like to remind you that drinking is fun and driving is fun. Just don't do them together. Have fun and be safe. Here's your host, Joe Yarbrough, and his co-host, David Tartaro.
Hey, welcome to Drinkin' and Drivin'. This is Joe Yarbrough. I'm here with David Tartaro.
Hello.
I really had to say David because we are interviewing a Dave today. So this is going to be really fun. Right now I'm sitting at Coaster's Pub and Beer Garden. That's 971 East O'Galley Boulevard here in possibly Melbourne, Florida, possibly O'Galley, possibly Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach. You can reach out to those guys on Facebook at Coaster's Pub, coasterspub.com. And part of the reason we're here, or a very big part of the reason we're here, is for the 11th annual Belgian Beer Fest, which is going to be happening probably a week or so after this airs. That's going to be Friday, February 28th through Sunday, March 1st. How's it going today, Dave?
Pretty well. Yourself?
Doing pretty well. Just like it seems almost every show we've done, it is morning time because that's really the best time to consume beer.
That's what we do.
So when you have a show, you're not considered an alcoholic. You're a small business owner, so it's okay.
It's research.
Another thing about this, we did do a show at David's house not too long ago. I don't know about that airing order yet. We're working on that. So this would be our first one at a business that's not a brewery, but this still does technically fit, not just because they have a crap ton of good beer, but I heard a rumor that this actually used to be a brewery at one point.
You would be correct in that rumor.
How did this location, I'm from the area, and almost as far back as I can remember, you guys have been sitting here. I don't think you always had the beer garden, which is great. You guys should definitely come here, if for no other reason, just to hang out, have a beer in the beer garden. I mean, it's gorgeous.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, especially because, Florida never really has bad days, but the weather in, say, February to March is springtime weather in other locations. So we got our nice, beautiful, gorgeous weather then. So you should definitely come for the Belgian Beer Fest. How long has this location been here? If you could give me a little bit of kind of backstory.
Yeah, so from the research I've done, this is actually Florida's oldest continuously operating beer bar / restaurant.
Wow, that's cool.
The entire state?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, as far as a physical bar that craft beer's been sold at, this is the oldest one you're going to find in Florida. Back in the 90s, Florida was pretty much a beer wasteland. It was tough to find anything better than it.
The early 2000s even.
Yeah. Beer was pretty much you're going to find the good stuff was Yingling, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Dave's fave.
That's right.
Yeah, in 89, there was a franchise called Hub's Pub, and Daryl Dahl, the original owner of Coasters, he got a franchise of Hub's Pub, and their concept was that the 99 bottles of beer around the world was kind of their concept, where if you consumed all 99 bottles of beer, you got your name on the wall, and there's the people's names are still back there on the back wall, and the different colors signify how many times they went through that cycle.
And if they did it in one night, they get a free trip to the hospital. Yeah. So that's kind of nice.
Did they at the time? Did they also have beer on tap, or was it only bottles? Or?
It was mainly bottles. There were 6 or 8 taps behind the bar, but not that much. Then that whole name on the wall program ended at some point, probably from a liability aspect. It's almost like a challenge. But in '94, Hubs went bankrupt. The franchise or the mothership went down. And the franchisees were offered to continue operations, but they had to change the name, and they had to change the concept enough to where there wasn't any confusion. So Daryl opened up Coasters, and he integrated his collection of thousands and thousands of coasters that he had in his closet from his time station in Germany. And you're going to find those in the bar and on the tables. And it kind of fit, too, because you're on the coaster across the street from the ocean. But, yeah, you continued operations, changed the name, and then added a very small brewery. I think it's 1.5 barrels. But he figured that was enough differentiation to where he didn't have to worry about any confusion with what used to be here at Hubs. It's continued. Daryl worked a lot, kind of worked himself to death almost. He gave himself 40 days off in 20 years. So, he was here every morning slicing meat.
I feel like I took that many off this past year.
Yeah. But yeah, this was the place to come, though. It's kind of the beer mecca for the Space Coast, if not Central Florida.
Yeah.
And really, I would argue it still is. If you're looking for beer that is not your AB or one of the or InBev, I guess now, whatever they're called, AB InBev. Yeah. So if you're looking for stuff that's not that, you're looking for stuff that has character. I mean, this is the place that I've spent many an evening myself. So I mean, I'm looking at a cooler right now. I'm staring right at it, and it's full of amazing things that I would like to put into my body as soon as possible.
That's one of the great things I was saying earlier before we started recording that I've always loved about Coasters is the focus on foreign imports. And I mean, there's tons of great craft beer as well, but you go to there's so many cool bars out there now. Our area it's far from a desert like it used to be.
Finally.
But it's the focus is always on craft beer, and you get such a different experience here. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of it goes back to the history. I didn't want to change the history of Coasters that much. It had always been pretty European influence and beers around the world type theme. Daryl was stationed in Germany, brought a lot of these steins back with him, and I love traveling too. So sticking with the international beer theme rather than just the hyper local.
So glad you did. Yeah.
So now it's a differentiator, I guess, among beer bars, but it's
for sure. And the other thing is every time I come in here, it's always we got the only barrel in Florida. We got the only barrel, even in the U.S. I've heard a couple of times.
Yeah, so that's the cool part is that when a rare, obscure import beer comes in, I'm kind of the first one that distributors or importers think of. So.
Well, I mean, that's nice to be on a short list like that.
Yeah.
Like, we've got something really amazing. Oh, who's the first guy we're going to call?
Like, I bet you've never had a Brouwer's a Hender Molsenbacher lager beer.
That is one of the first beers I was going to bring up when we get to that portion.
And I probably can't even say it in about 3 times that amount of time. He said it so smoothly. But, well, part of the reason, too, is obviously if you like beer, you do kind of have to pay homage to, all of the great European breweries, kind of the motherland of beer. And, the likelihood of me as a lowly podcast runner making my way over to Belgium and doing all that stuff is probably pretty low. Plus, my French is just atrocious at best. So
it's not that bad. Yeah.
It's actually non-existent.
Doesn't exist.
Really, I mean, so it might be great, but it doesn't exist yet. So. But yeah, so this is kind of the next best thing. And
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree.
And I will say the ambiance, it does kind of have that pub feel. I mean, it does feel like a European pub. It's got a great looking bar up there.
Well, and like you mentioned with the tables, these old coasters, it's very vintage. It feels like you're in like what you would imagine a European bar back in the the 70s or the 80s or something like that.
Yeah, the idea with the beer garden is to kind of transport you to Europe when you're out there. When it's nighttime out there in the beer garden, the weather's cool. I mean, it really does. Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're in Florida anymore.
Yeah. And what a great use of space too! It's always amazed me because this location's in like a strip mall, and that back area is what you would usually that's like the back area where deliveries and stuff are. Nobody goes back there.
It was just a trash pile, 8 years ago.
Well, I think the cool thing, it really does work that you're right on the corner of the building, because if you were just like, then you'd be back and you'd look over on the other side of the beer garden and there'd be like couple of dumpsters and all that stuff because you got that back corner area.
Yeah, it's pretty sizable, really well. Pretty sizable area. How many square feet is that back there?
I don't know.
A bunch.
Yeah,
all
a bunch.
Of bunch.
All of the square feet.
All of the square feet.
But our bartender Cheryl is a landscaper by day, so she tends to all the trees and shrubs and flowers out there. I don't know.
Sounds like Daryl.
Yeah.
Because my favorite thing is the wall of vines. It's like a two-story wall just completely covered. And it's not like half dead or anything. It's like all lush and green.
She does an amazing job.
Really cool. I want to ask about Molsenbacher. Did I say it right?
Molsenbacher, yeah. So Molsenbach is a small little town. I think it is between Nuremberg and Bamberg.
Did you visit it?
No, I had to Google Earth this one.
Oh, really?
So how did you figure out where it was?
Well, how'd you find this then?
It was one that the importer said, "Hey, I got a really small, limited number of these kegs coming in. Do you want one?" I said, don't know what it is, but yes, let's take this one. Then I did my research, and it's just a really small, little family-owned brewery in a town of it. It looks like it's a town of about 500 people, and I don't know where else you'd. It would take a lot of effort to get that at the source or anywhere else.
That they're able to distribute all the way to the U.S.
Yeah, that's Shelton Brothers Imports, and they do a good job of finding some pretty small family breweries products over there and bringing them over.
Could you imagine doing that for a living? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just going over there and convincing people to part with their amazing beer.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing that. I mean, I'm trying to do that with this podcast, telling people to part with some of their amazing beers.
A little bit of it.
A much smaller quantity than maybe an importer would, but yeah, I kind of understand that. I mean, plus brewing, which I've done some brewing, and Dave's done some brewing as well. Or sorry, David has done some brewing as well.
I have as well, so you can.
And
Either way.
the Daves have brewed. It's really much easier to talk than it is to clean. I mean,
I agree.
That's really what a good portion of brewing is just cleaning.
Yeah.
it's like, is this clean enough? Better clean it again, just in case. So,
what year did you say that you guys sold off the brew in 2010?
That was around 2010. Yeah, it was a small system that we sold to Joy Redner from Zero City. Bought it. And Wayne Wambles ended up using it as his pilot system for a few years.
Really cool.
So the first batch of Honey Foods was brewed on that one.
That is awesome.
To my knowledge, they sent a keg of that.
It's a famous brew system.
Yeah, well, I guess so. And now it lives in the Tampa airport at the Cigar City Brew Pub.
That's
in there.
So cool.
I've never seen it because I never travel out of Tampa for flights.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of want to do it. Just
like drive 3 hours to fly somewhere. You could drive 15 minutes over here at
or you can just fly back.
But it worked out well. Yeah, they got good use out of it. Still getting good use out of it, and the proceeds of that sale went to help build the beer garden. So
that worked out
all
great.
Worked out well for everyone.
Did you get to work on the system then? You were a couple years.
No, it wasn't operational. Yeah, it had been put into storage.
I gotcha.
It was a dust collector, so
it was. I mean, by the time Daryl had 30 taps of beer available, and you're like, why am I brewing another one here? It's like, let the brewers do what they do, and then
we'll do what we do. Yeah.
We have this amazing import from Belgium, but hey, I made this stuff using Melbourne tap water, so enjoy that.
It's a Belgian style. It's almost as good.
That would literally be the only thing I wouldn't make if I had a place like this and I was brewing.
German style.
I would be like, hey, this is something that they would not drink over there, and that on purpose because I don't want to. I would want no comparison. I would want.
That's a good point.
You know what? I like the Belgian stuff better than your pitiful attempt at the Belgian stuff. So.
Yeah.
So how big is I don't need exact square footage, but I mean it's a sizable place.
Yeah, we seat about 100 people inside and about another 70 outside in the beer garden.
But that increases during the beer fest, right?
Well.
Or that
definitely not because the fire marshal says that's all we can have.
But they're definitely at capacity.
Yes. Yeah, but no more than capacity.
No more than capacity.
169 and a half is like max.
So the kitchen, it put extra stress in the kitchen as far as when we almost doubled the seating area. It's a pretty tiny kitchen, but got a great chef back there, a great team, and they've learned to do amazing stuff out of a tiny space.
So. Obviously, with the Belgian Brew Fest, there's going to be Belgian brew. Mm-hmm. I would assume.
It is true. It is true.
We're only going to have Miller Lite, so enjoy that. No, but so we're going to definitely.
InBev is Belgian company.
Are we doing anything as far as food pairings or?
We are. So I printed out some menus from last year's Belgian Beer Fest. The beer is the first 3 pages, and food's in the back here. But yeah, me and my chef went to Shane Balbier is his name. We went to Belgium September 2018, so a year and a half ago. I don't know. I'm not good at calendar math. But we spent a week essentially just having 6 dinners a night and trying to find as many interesting Belgian foods that we want to bring back and duplicate. So
many good things.
We got some pretty cool stuff. Of course, you're going to have your mussels and
I want to try
the basic stuff.
The Wagyu beef carpaccio.
Yeah, carpaccio. That was really
butchered.
We saw that a lot in Brussels.
The beef.
Oh my gosh!
But we've got crevettes, tomata crevettes. That's little baby shrimps and tomato. That's a popular appetizer like bar food in Belgium. The carbonade is a really thick, beefy stew that's got Flemish beer in there. Something like a sour, like a Dutchish de Bourgogne. Something a beer like that, and it comes together really well. You pour that over top of French fries, and it just goes really, really well with the beer. And we bring in some Belgian chocolates. We got truffles coming in, and Chimay cheese as well.
Now, when you say you
Chimay makes cheese?
Yeah, so we're actually one of only a dozen or so Chimay ambassador bars in the country.
Really?
So where you'll find 2 Chimay beers on tap as well as their cheese. So right now we have a Trappist cheeseburger that's got caramelized onions and their Trappist cheese melted on top of it, and it's pretty amazing.
And Joe just looked at each other.
Guess who's staying
and
for
practically
lunch?
started
What?
drooling. What are the 2 Chimay beers you guys have on tap?
Currently it's a red and white,
Red and white.
and the white line will rotate between white and blue.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. So this, I'm sorry, this is last year's, right?
That's last year's, yeah.
When you talk about the truffles, you say you're bringing them in. Are they actually like Belgian truffles?
Honest to God, made in Brussels, yeah. Yeah,
Oh
they're fantastic.
And you guys do a lot of, I mean, I've seen things with truffles just on your normal menu in the past.
Yeah,
and stuff, right?
so we're talking Belgian chocolate truffles.
I'm thinking.
But there is the
Thinking of the
underground.
mushrooms truffle.
There is the underground pig digging.
The pig digging truffles.
Yeah, truffles. And we have truffle cheese fries.
I feel like that's a
That was embarrassing.
I feel like that's a good way to curse at somebody. You pig digging truffle.
I'm going to use that.
There was another one my wife saw. It was there is apparently a type of maggot that has what they call a rat tail. It kind of looks like a rat tail. So calling somebody a rat-tailed maggot really sounds. I mean, it's like you're not
that's
cursing
an
at
actual
anybody.
thing.
I was like, oh my gosh, that like she said that. Oh yeah, I saw this. Look, some science thing. I was like, oh my god, that totally sounds like something you could call somebody without actually like cursing.
Keith and I were in Montreal in September to visit Unibrew to prepare for this upcoming event, and found that there's a 7-Eleven type store up there. It's called Couche-Tard. It means night owl, but Couche-Tard just sounds like such a great, such a great insult to give.
It really
They're so on PC over there.
It just means night owl, but it sounds so offensive.
Sounds so offensive.
That was like my wife. She actually, when she was in the army, she was a Russian linguist. She had to learn Russian also. So they tell you the kind of funny things, and I'm gonna mess it up because there's gonna be like accents on it, but it's essentially smelly Ruski whore.
Oh,
which means
what?
Brave Russian choir.
That is very different than what it sounds.
Wow.
It's like what? but I mean, it would be have some sort of Slavic sound.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I'm not even gonna attempt to do that.
It sounds even worse when you say it.
Exactly. It sounds pretty bad.
So last year you guys had what is this? The Destru Penapot.
Oh yeah, Brewery de Struce. So the Struce is a little brewery very close to West Leitrim. It's in East Leitrim, I believe. But,
yeah.
And they brew some amazing stuff there. Funny story, I was out there. I was trying to visit the brewery a few years ago. Knocking on the front door, no one's there. I called Troy at Microman, who's my importer. He's like, no, the brewery is in Tampa right now at the Shelton Brothers Importers Fest. So you have a hidden key anywhere.
Look under the mat.
Yeah, right.
Little suspicious rocks that look like they got a key in them.
But so the Streets Brewery, they make Black Alberts. It's a really dark, I think it's 12% Belgian Royal Stout, they call it. At one time, it was ranked the best beer in the world on the Beer Advocate list.
Wow. And
I've got 3 cases of that have been hoarding since 2015, which are going to come out at Belgian Beer Fest this year. So that's going to be a special one.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm big into aging. It's like a...
Oh, yeah. And this one here ages really well. It's just so
gosh.
much beer in that beer that it's...
Well, that's
unlike David himself, he does not age well at all.
I've got a lot of salt and pepper going on. That's for sure.
A lot of salt.
It's a little pepper.
Old Graybeard the pirate here.
Go ahead.
Oh, some other cool beers that's going to be coming up at this year's Belgian Beer Fest is last year we were selected as one of only, I think, 2 bars in Central Florida to have our own personal cask of Knob Creek. So they sent a couple.
Wow, cool.
They sent a couple of our people from Coasters over for Knob Creek tasting dinner, and they got to sample actual single barrels and say, I want this one. So they sent that barrel down to us, bottled it, and then I gave the barrel to Ron Reiki over at Playa Linda, and he brewed in the Belgian Imperial Stout. And
did we have that?
Yeah, that was available last year.
We just interviewed him a couple weeks ago.
That
was you said that was last year.
Yeah. So
no, that was last year. So.
But what was the one that we had?
He's probably still reusing that barrel because it had a lot of flavor in it.
Yeah, we did have we had a barrel aged beer a couple days.
Well, yeah, we had one with him that I guess he has one that's like
what is the name of that beer?
He has one that's out there, like everybody gets. We'll just say it has like Elijah Craig barrel or something.
Okay.
That's the one that everybody uses, or that he has. He's like, oh, I got the exact same beer, but I I put it in this barrel instead, and it's kind of like his personal little stash.
Oh, wow.
So we got to try some personal little
That
stash.
could be mine. I wanted that back Ron, you know.
He said he was going to rinse out with bleach and send it
Okay,
right back.
great. But yeah, so I've stashed a keg of that from last year, which I figure it's going to age really well. So we'll pop that open on Friday at the Beer Fest probably.
So just to let you guys know, once again, it is February 28th through March 1st. Keep in mind, that's not a 2-day event because this is leap year, so that's 3 days.
3 days.
There is a 29th. Don't be like, oh, God, because tomorrow's the 1st. So just a friendly little leap year reminder. That's a 3-day event, not a 2-day event, as the calendar may make you, think just naturally. We've got the Belgian truffles coming from Belgium.
Sure.
You've got all these beers coming from Belgium. I feel like you have probably spent some time yourself in Belgium. How many times? How often?
Maybe 4 times so far. I'm going back in March as well. It's a really cool country. I mean, as far as the beer goes, I think they're sandwiched between Germany and France.
Yeah.
So they have like the brewing acumen and the engineering, brewing know-how of Germany, but kind of the artistic license that France has.
Yeah.
Because the Germans don't get to play around a whole lot because they're
Right now,
riding
it's
Hushka
like,
boats.
Yep.
You must make it like this.
Yeah, so it's a really neat blend as far as that goes. Their chocolates are amazing. The cheeses are fantastic. People are friendly. And they're really beautiful cities, too, because a lot of them, like Bruges, weren't hit by World War II, where a lot of places in that area were just bombed out and had to be rebuilt. So a lot of these places in Bruges, for instance, are date back to the 1100s. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a neat place.
Do you guys do any? Do you guys have French beers ever? I find them very difficult to find.
I don't have a whole lot of options of French beer. We see some French ciders come through occasionally.
It's crazy because France has. I was just reading this the other day. Second largest number of breweries in Europe, second only to the UK. I mean, they are big into beer. We just don't get any of it here. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's some big, and that's
Everybody
why
just
I
knows
don't
them
do
for
a
their wine,
French
so.
beer weekends.
Yeah.
But I know I did read, because one of us here, and it's not David, did our homework. I did read that you also do some stuff in October.
Yes. So our entire month of October, and I realize that Oktoberfest is September 17th or September, so it's actually September. But to make it easy for everyone, we just do it October 1st through the 31st.
Yeah.
That actually allows you to go to the real Oktoberfest in Munich and then come back to Coasters for ours.
And then you can compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll have 25 taps of German beers during the entire month of October. It's every October. And I've been to Germany quite a few times, and you just don't... Beer's very regional there. So if you're in Bavaria, you're not going to find a North German beer.
That's what I've heard.
Vice versa. If you're in Cologne, you're not going to find something from Munich.
Yeah.
So here, I don't know where else you're going to find 25 beers from all over Germany.
The exact same place.
Yeah, without traveling a lot. So
Very cool.
that's a fun month. And then
that's awesome.
Kitchen makes some really good foods. We have lots of schnitzels. We do Hassenpfeffer occasionally. That's the rabbit. That's sort of fun.
Yeah.
The Schweinhaxe, the pork knuckle, those are really good. So we play around with lots of German foods. Yeah, it's a good month. Lots of brown foods that month.
Very cool.
It's all,
Lots of brown.
It is. All German food is tan and brown.
It is, and it's so good.
Not to be confused with black and tan.
Hey.
So, are there any other? Obviously, we've got the German Fest, which or Oktoberfest, which I'm going to be at that. Then we've got the Belgian Fest coming up in just a few weeks from when we're going to be airing this. Any other big events we do throughout the year?
Those are my 2 big events. I mean, we'll have some brewery nights occasionally, and we've done them in the past as well. I mean, going backwards a little bit to the history, and we did our first Stone release here. First Stone beers in Central Florida port here. Greg Cook from Stone's been here. Larry Bell from Bell's just came for a Bell's night.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
This guy's a Bell's fanboy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my wife's from Michigan. I love Michigan beer.
Yeah, they make
Bell's
really good stuff. We saw a lot of Two Hearted. Yeah, Larry's been here, like I say. But as far as events go, we do the occasional beer release night. Those are our 2 big events we focus on. Is Belgian Beer Fest and German
which I think is
Oktoberfest.
great. That falls. We kind of talked at the beginning of the show. That kind of falls right in the wheelhouse of you can get good craft beer here, there, everywhere, but you can't really get a lot of good imports. So I do like that you guys are kind of sticking to that, where you've got the big events. And of course, for my money, personally, I think Belgium's my number 1 as far as my beer, what I like. And then Germany would be number 2.
No, I love those Doppelbox, man.
I was going to say, this guy's a Doppelbox.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's a huge...
God,
so
so good.
Yeah, you'll find the Andex Doppelbock. We find that on tap here during Oktoberfest. It's probably your top rated Doppelbock in the world. That and your Celebrator Doppelbock.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
Make some really fantastic beers.
Especially if you get the bottles, you get the little.
Yes, you get a little goat.
Little goat.
Yes,
comes with it. I've got a lot of those goats at my house.
Yeah. So Christmas tree ornaments.
That's right.
So speaking of Belgian beers and all that stuff, I feel like I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't give David the opportunity to tell at least an abbreviated version of the one you told in the other show.
What are you talking about?
The Eric McKinley.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's right. Because that happened here. I'm like, I was thinking about. I'm not even kidding. I was thinking about Doppelbocks and half listening to what you were saying.
Tiny goats.
Tiny goats dancing in my head.
While the girl of Ipanema played in the background of his mind.
So I don't know if you remember this. You probably do. Years back, West Vleteren, West Vleteren 12.
Yeah.
It's one of the highest sought after beers.
Sure.
Because you have to go. Have you gone to
I've
the
been
brewery?
there 3 times. Yeah.
Oh come on! Are you kidding me? You're killing me, man. I want to go.
That's a must see.
Take me
Stop.
with you. That's awesome. Yeah, so, you know better than I do.
They're, all their beers are fantastic, but one you never hear about is the Green Cap, the 8th, the blonde. It is the best Belgian blonde ale you've ever had, yeah.
No way. Yeah. So what's the process, actually? Because I've heard the process, but you've been there, so...
Yeah, well, so...
If you want to get their beer...
Across from the monastery, they have a restaurant, and I've been to the restaurant a few times, but to actually get cases of their beer, though, and there's some wooden cases over there.
Oh, really? Oh,
now it's...
Oh, yeah, now I can see the wooden case.
Yeah, they've been having problems with a lot of gray market activity where people drive in, grab trunks full, and then go sell them for profits. Yes, about $20, 15, 16 euros a bottle now. And if you go to Brussels, so they changed that process. Now it's online registration. They're doing a better job of knowing who they sell to. So they're to try to get rid of that gray market.
Because I would have to sign a waiver saying you're not going to resell it or something.
Yeah, I'm not positive about that, but
did you never buy? You didn't buy a case when you were there?
No, I haven't been. They have a calendar, like a release day calendar.
Oh, so you can't just go anytime.
You have to really plan ahead. Yeah,
wow.
It's like an iPhone.
Harder than
it's like an iPhone release. You got to stay in line out the door.
I would be standing for that way before an iPhone.
Yeah. So the days that I had been there, you can just go to the restaurant across the street and have the beers there.
So they do just have them on tap then.
They're all bottled. Yeah, they're all bottled. Yeah, they're all bottled, re-fermented. But
so cool.
They're all available there across the street if you're in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you probably remember when they did that, when they actually distributed that one time.
Yeah.
It was like a single event.
That was a Shelton Brother import special, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That only showed up at Total Wines, I believe?
I think it was just Total Wines, yep. And we didn't have a Total Wine here at the time. The closest one you could get it at was in Orlando, and I remember something with work was going on, and I could not go. And I knew it was you got to get there early. Only a certain number of people are going to get them. I think it was $60 or $80 for a 6-pack, but it came with a glass. And a buddy of ours, Eric McKinley, you might know Eric actually.
I think so.
He owns a CrossFit gym.
We used to come here a lot back when I went there.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went and got a 6-pack.
Oh, great.
It was right around my birthday actually, and I was so upset. And he knew how big into this I was. And actually, we met here for a CrossFit event here at Coasters.
All right.
And he all of a sudden comes up, he taps me on the shoulder, I turn and look, and he's got a chilled one with the glass, and he gives me both for my birthday. And I was
beautiful.
like, oh my gosh! And I remember Joe Bond, used to be an owner here.
Yes, co-owner. Yeah, co-owner.
I don't know, David, if you're aware, he once had a partner.
For a short time, I worked with him at Harris as well, but he was here, and I let him try it, and it was a lot of fun. I was just very excited. It was
it's
so
pretty
awesome.
amazing. Now, if you ever get a chance again, try St. Bernardus F12 side by side.
That's what I wanted to do.
Can you do that at the restaurant? Do they have F12 at the restaurant?
They won't. No, you can.
How are you going to get it side by side then? How can you even do it?
Well, you can find if you're in Belgium,
black market.
Well, you can buy these bottles on eBay if you wanted to as well.
Oh, can you really?
I did. I saw a 6-pack with a glass for $150.
Really? See,
online. I was like, $150. I think it was plus shipping.
I would honestly consider doing that as a birthday present or something.
Yeah. So St. Bernardus used to brew the St. Sixtus West Lateran beers.
Really?
For the monastery. But the monastery didn't have its own brewery. They essentially hired St. Bernardus to
contract them.
Yep. So App 12 is really the original West Lateran 12.
No way.
Then once the monks over at the monastery, St. Sixtus West Lateran, started brewing, they changed changed their recipes and now bring in Westmalle yeast, I believe.
So it is a little different now.
It's a little bit different. It's pretty much the
yeast
same
is the
beer.
only
The
difference,
yeast
though.
is different. St. Bernardus is using the original yeast strain from
Wow.
the 50s or 60s, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
But they're very similar. It's cool, really cool to try them side by side.
And isn't a Rochefort? Don't they have one that's really similar too? Or
Yeah, so Rochefort has the 6, 8, and 10. They're
Yeah.
all the same recipe, just amounts of ingredients. But yeah,
Oh, really?
they're all fantastic.
do you know what? So do you know? It seems like that's a common thing with Trappists. They do the numbers.
Yeah,
Prater
yeah,
8 and all
and
the-
I wish it were that everyone followed the same rules, but they don't really.
So the number, if it's the 6 here and 6 there, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really follow that a lot. Sometimes it's degrees Plato. Sometimes they just named it that. But,
There's no standard in the
Yeah.
Trappist brewing
if
industry
they were
for-
German, they would have a set rule.
Yeah. And they'd be forced to follow it.
That's right.
I mean, the fact that they have numbers at all tells you that they're kind of close to Germany, where you get,
Yeah.
hey, there's numbers. Like,
At least we try.
we don't do numbers here in the U.S. We do just like, like, hey, let's call this, I don't know, monkey snot. That'll be funny. Put a cartoon monkey on it. There you go.
Well, that's
We sold it.
I've seen this in other places. Like, what is it that Russian brewery that all their beers are a number? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I forget what.
What are they called? It'll come to me eventually after the interview on my way home. Yeah,
We'll make sure, just go ahead and make that little blurb at the end, and we'll add it in.
edit it in.
It'll sound completely different. Record it on your phone, and then we'll transpose it into this. I honestly have no familiarity whatsoever with Russian beers, specifically like Russian breweries.
Baltica, sorry, Baltica.
Oh.
We were looking for Baltica.
You need to actually answer that in the form of a question. What is or who is Baltic? Would have been correct.
A lot of Russian beers that you see in the U.S. are not. I'm calling them Russian beers because I feel like you put them all in the same category. They're, I guess you could say, post-Soviet beers. There's a lot of different beers that come from, the Ukraine or Poland, or and a lot of them seem to have similar styles and the same kind of fun-looking names with lacks of vowels and like what's that? I know I always pronounce this wrong. Maybe you know. I was Zwiak. This right here, Zwiak. How do you actually say that? Do you know? Somebody pronounced it for me once.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
can't
literally
really,
nothing like it.
Can't really help you on that one.
I
It's
think
like
you have to.
Julach or something.
I think you have to cut off just a piece of your tongue to say it.
Maybe that's what it is.
So
yeah.
I mean, if it's worth it to you, by all means.
But you get a lot of the typical, like most countries, the grainy adjunct lagers,
Sure.
Lesser expensive sort of things. But then, I've had some really good, Baltic porters and stuff from some of these Northern European countries that are pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They get that little bite to them,
We have a Crooked Stave Baltic Porter on at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You make a Baltic porter?
They do? Yeah,
how is
in
it?
Denver. Oh, it's nice, yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
We did mention that you do. I guess I should have also put that. So you are known for your imports, but you do also have some craft.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dragon Point, the Intracoastal Dragon Point, 3 miles away. That's probably our best-selling beer.
Is it
Of
really?
the past
No
year.
way.
Of the past
Really?
year, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
it does make sense because it is so close, and I would say the food menu here would be a lot better than going up the street to Intercoastal and getting the food.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So,
And then I said, yeah, Plyland down here too.
so this
When
is
you get shorts. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I just cut you short. I love shorts. Another Michigan.
well, we live in Florida, so it's good to have shorts.
Yeah, so we keep the Shorts local light lager on full time.
Oh,
we
do you?
don't have any Anheuser-Busch or AB InBev Miller Coors products at all. Almost have. If you want a bottle of it, we'll sell you a bottle of it. But the Shorts local light works really well as
That's
our
great.
mess.
Yeah, if somebody wants
Beer.
their cheap lighter beer,
Yep.
you're at least giving them one that's good quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of InBev and all the other ones, I thought this was actually really great. So your neighbor is kind of across the street, Beachfly, literally a 2-minute walk from Beachfly,
Yeah.
if you wanted. So your neighbors, they do offer Anheuser-Busch products and things like that. They have a few of those in bottles, and the 12-ounce bottle that you buy there is the same price as a pint of their own made in-house beer. And I'm like, yes. I was like, I approve of this message. I don't know why, but for some reason I just really like, if you want to pay $6 for a 12-ounce bottle of Bud Light,
They'll give you that opportunity.
they will gladly help you part with $6.
That's cool.
I feel like as a brewery, if for some reason you're going to offer someone else's option, I feel like make it an even board kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't want to call it like a dummy tax, but You know, it's my show. We're gonna call it a dummy
It
tax.
kind of is.
If you want a Budweiser,
A poor taste
you're
tax.
gonna pay full price, beyond full price.
Very cool.
Didn't you guys, and maybe you still do, I just don't have the normal menu, but didn't you do a thing with burgers that were not regular, just ground beef?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the exotic burger.
I love.
Yeah,
the
so that's been a everyday staple for a few years now. It's called the exotic burger. We work with Culinary Classics over in Orlando. They're kind of a exotic meat vendor, fancy distributor place. And so we'll get in the ground camel from them, elk, antelope.
I had llama once.
The llama.
Yeah, that was actually amazing. Almost every time I come here, I end up getting one. Just
Yeah.
because I like trying different meats. And I would say that was the one that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
It was fatty. A lot of these alternate meats, I guess you call them, are a little more on the lean side.
Mhm. Yeah, like the bison
Like
camel's pretty lean.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But so it's kind of a fun thing that
Yeah,
you
really
don't
fun.
get.
Do you ever
don't get
have any
anywhere.
carnivorous animals?
Carnivorous animals?
Interesting question.
Like a lion. I mean,
Dude, I want to eat a carnivorous animal.
I mean, but you
I'm trying to
you
think,
think
but
most
yeah,
of
It's
most
like
of the stuff
a
we
beef-fed lion.
Most of them are grass, yeah. Yeah, most of them are grazers, aren't they?
They
well,
are.
if you think about
Interesting.
most of the meat that we eat, it's a vegetarian.
Do
of
fish
some
count?
sort. Yeah, I don't think.
No.
I mean,
Well, no, that's
fish,
a good point,
a
though.
fish burger. Would be
Have you ever had like shark or something like that?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, most of the
Gator
meat,
as well.
most of the meat that you buy, like a land animal, is going to be some
Well,
sort of a grazer.
It's because the farmers don't want to have to wrestle with a deadly animal every time they.
Yeah, I just made an
Harvest
animal.
the meat.
Don't eat another animal.
Yeah, plus, could you imagine how expensive it would be to
And
raise
all-
a lion?
an all
Very
lion
expensive
patty, with sesame seed
All
bun,
lion patty.
lettuce, tomato, special sauce.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd pay a lot of money to eat a lion burger.
There is a place in Tampa that sold lion meat for
No
a bit.
way.
Yeah, they.
So that's not illegal meat then.
No, so I think what happened, if I remember right, is that it was either a zoo or a sanctuary or something had an old lion that they had to put down, and they're allowed to sell that meat. And
Really?
the meat went out there. It was like
That's actually a good idea.
it was like $50 a pound wholesale, I think, or so, and not much came out. But as soon as they put that in the menu, they made national news. PETA was all over them.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it was a mess.
wow,
So we
not
don't-
worth the $50 a pound.
Yeah, we don't have lion burgers.
Don't have lion burgers.
You know
They
what?
were making lion tacos, is what they're doing over there in Tampa.
You know what?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
when
pretty
you
good,
when you
though.
get lion meat in or some other deadly animal, you got my card. Give me a call.
Okay.
I want to come eat.
We'll call it
Uh,
cow or something so that PETA doesn't
Yeah.
get on you.
We'll call it beef. Wink.
Beef wink. Yeah, then vegetarians will think it's like fake meat and they'll order it.
It's
That's a disaster.
that,
waiting
I
to
mean,
happen
really,
right
like lion. That's the real impossible burger. I mean, like,
Yeah.
how are you gonna get a lion?
I feel like bald eagle would be the hardest.
Ooh.
Even the
Bald
meat
eagle
eaters
wings.
are gonna have trouble eating the bald eagle wings. It's un-American.
Or is it the most American thing you can do?
Yeah, it's part of it.
This
now.
tastes like freedom.
Oh my
Does
gosh.
freedom taste like tough chicken? I guess so.
Gaming chicken.
Well, let's go ahead and pause for a little bit, get our faculties back, and we'll shelf any other questions.
Wait,
for- Oh, what?
before we stop, I want to ask you a question, Joe. So we recently got a professional voiceover guy to do. He's awesome. Oh my
He's so
gosh,
good.
so
Oh, wow.
great. But you replaced the previous episodes with his voice though now, right?
Yes, I did.
So nobody can even hear your old terrible version of the voiceover.
I don't know if I'd say terrible. I would say less amazing.
Okay,
That's-
I was just
that's
going to
how
ask. I
would
didn't know
say
if this was going to be the first episode that had it, but yeah, that's
No,
right.
I
It's-
went back in.
that guy is great.
Yeah, he has like a professional
Golden voice.
radio voice. Like he did radio for 30 years. So I mean,
He's got that
like,
deep, you know.
Okay.
You're listening too. Like
Anyway.
yeah, I didn't even do that justice. But yeah, no, this
you
one
did
will
not.
definitely have the new one, and we're still kind of playing around. So it's kind of funny. So I hired this guy to do the voice stuff, and we've kind of sparked up a bit of a friendship. So like,
He sends me a text. He goes, "I wish this guy was my dad."
I really do.
It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, my dad's voice sounds kind of like mine. I mean, like if this guy told me to go clean my room, I would clean my room. Like,
Anyway, pretty off topic.
I wonder though if he would have said it like as the radio announcer though, like, "This is your father, and you need to clean your room." We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break and come back, try some of the Belgian offerings here.
And now it's time to drink a beer.
All right, we're back. We're sitting here at Coaster's Pub and Beer Garden. Once again, is it Melbourne? Is it O'Galley? Is it Indian Harbor Beach? We'll just say it is on the corner of O'Galley Boulevard and A1A.
There you go.
Beachfront Avenue. So I've got, once again, my co-host David with me.
Yep.
And I also have Dave, but we did pick up another person somehow. It's kind of like stray dogs. You can't have too many, I guess. I don't know. So I've got a new best friend here because he brought me stickers. So I've got Troy.
The way to Joe's heart is stickers.
I mean, really. I mean, you know, if my wife would have proposed to me, she could have opened the thing and put stickers inside. Maybe a coloring book, you know. Also, just as a disclaimer, the location we're in right now is currently open for business. It wasn't open earlier, so you may hear background noise. It's just part of the ambiance. We're normally in a brewery, so there are noises like metallic bangs in the back.
Just like that.
Just the way it is. So, Troy, how are we doing today?
Awesome.
So,
Great.
I have your name. Who are you?
My name's Troy Barfoot. I currently work for BBL USA, which is the import company for Delirium, Belgian brewery just outside of Ghent. Been around. It's a classic brewery. The brewery itself has been there for 450 years. They've been brewing Delirium Tremens since the mid '80s, and shortly after that, they started brewing Delirium Nocturnum, which is our dark beer.
Yeah.
And just in the last couple of years, they've come out with Delirium Red, which is the Delirium Tremens. This is the base beer, and they've added cherries and elderberries to it. So it's a 8% fruit beer, which is one of the strongest fruit beers that I'm aware of.
And one of the most delicious, I have to say.
Yeah, I've never had it before.
So
It's
it's
the only Delirium beer I've had.
yeah, it's very fortuitous here. So a big thing that we were talking about is the upcoming Belgian Fest here, where they go with the Belgian beers. So now I'm literally talking to somebody who works with one of the best Belgian beers out there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what happens at Coasters.
I was about to say, you come to Coasters and
Welcome to
you're
Coasters.
immersed.
So if you guys are unaware of Delirium or any of their products, you may have, if you go to a nice
You may have had an
store,
aneurysm or something
Yeah,
recently.
well,
if you're
that
unaware of
might-
Delirium.
but they're the ones with the pink elephant.
You may go to the hospital, you had a stroke.
That's probably the most telltale sign. So if you're seeing pink elephants, either you're looking at their beer or, once again, you just had some sort of a medical episode and seek medical attention immediately.
The pink elephant's name is Pinky, by the way.
Oh,
Pinky the pink
I
elephant.
didn't even know it had that.
Yeah.
Clever name.
And he'll be making an appearance at the Belgian Fest.
That's right.
Yes, so I saw a picture of the one that he's mentioning. It's a giant. It looks like it's close to the size of a baby elephant.
It's about 15 feet tall.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
It's
And
Little
it's-
size elephant.
I drive a Subaru, and it's bigger than my car, like front to back.
Wow. If anything comes from that.
We're gonna try to tie him down here and see if he hangs out a little. No, it's gonna be great.
So Troy's been part of Coasters for a long time. When I bought the place in 2008, he was the original craft beer salesman for Central Florida with Microman, that's where you went to get the good beers.
Yeah.
Microman.
That's right.
Yes, those were the good old days.
So you've been playing the beer game for a long time.
About 15 years.
And we spoke a little bit offline about this, where when you used to work for Microman, so you there were a lot of different beer brands in that one. And now you're kind of a one brand man.
Yes, sir. One trick pony.
So he's settled down.
Very good trick, though.
I mean, if you can do
Well,
one
you
good
can
trick.
look at it like this: jack of all trades, master of one. Right?
Yeah. I mean, at Microman, I wore a lot of hats because we were a very small company, so we didn't really get in. We dealt with small breweries. We didn't really get in a lot of brewery reps from the breweries. We didn't deal with locals, so everything was coming from out of state or out of the country. We just didn't get a lot of representation, so I had to be the brewery rep. I had to be the distributor rep. Just all kinds of different things.
Wow,
It was good times though. I mean, it kept me busy for sure.
very busy. I bet. Yeah.
When I first started coming over to the beach area, I mean, it's a different game now. Like, everybody's kind of fighting for the same piece of the pie right now. All these craft breweries that are popping up, and I mean, every day it seems like there's a new one opening in Orlando right now.
Yeah.
Back when I first started, it was more just convincing people to get away from the yellow fizzy stuff, just the Buds, Bud Lights, Millers, that kind of stuff.
It's a challenge, but a different
It
challenge.
was. It was a big challenge in Daytona for sure. I mean, you walk in and we're like, we're a Bud Bar. Nobody's
Oh
gonna
my
drink
gosh!
that here.
Yeah, Daytona. Forget it.
Yeah, but-
Are they still like that? I feel like
No.
Daytona would still be like that.
I mean, there's still
Probably,
some places.
I mean,
but-
like anywhere where spring break is probably big.
Yeah.
You're only gonna get the yellow fizz.
I don't know, man. I feel like the kids are drinking the craft beer now too.
I mean, it's grown up a lot over there. Everywhere's grown up a lot. I mean, Orlando is way
Okay.
behind Tampa for a long time.
they're so behind. Yeah, I feel it's so nice. The past just 3 years,
Yeah.
I feel like they've opened up so many.
I mean, we've already done a few interviews, David and I, up to this point, and we've already got one that they're not even open yet. So we've already done an interview with a pre-brewery.
Yeah, but
And then we've got another one.
Fedrum.
We've got another one that I've been talking to. Once again, they're not even open yet. So
Wow.
I'm actually
And
going
that's
to
in our area has been blooming
Yeah,
for a
so
while.
just
and
here in
still,
Brevard
it's still
County.
happening. Yeah.
So two breweries not even
Yeah.
open yet that are you know
Yeah.
kind of up and coming. They don't. I mean, they're so I'm kind of those ones I'm going to kind of chronicle. I think it'd be cool to be like, hey, we have an idea to start a brewery. Hey, we have a location.
Yeah.
We've been here for a year. Then you could just kind of see that transformation. So
Yeah, we are starting to see some contraction, though. We've had 2 local breweries close in the last several months
That's
here
true,
in the
yep.
county.
Yep.
And some big ones in Orlando as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
I like to
it's-
think, since like you said, what was the original franchise called before Christmas?
Hub's Pub.
Hub's
this
Pub,
was,
that's
yeah.
right. So-
This was the second Hub's Pub ever.
All right.
So I feel like, and Charlie and Jake's also has been around for quite a long time in this area. Melbourne, Florida, we're a larger city, not a larger city. We're a city though, but you got
thriving metropolis.
we've been ahead of Orlando and several other big cities in Florida for quite some time, and I really feel like that's a major part of it because, like you said, people in Central Florida, probably all of Florida, anybody was interested in getting good beer back in the 80s and the early 90s, they would come here. So I feel like you guys kind of planted the seeds of that environment. Way
It was
back
definitely
then.
one of the first times Michael Jackson, the beer hunter, was here in the mid-90s.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
At Hub.
Yeah, it sat right there at the bar. He
That's
came in
awesome.
town to watch a shuttle launch and ended up looking for a place to have a
That's
beer.
awesome.
So you can Google Michael Jackson coasters, and he's got were mentioned in one of his stories.
Oh, really? He even mentioned you. That's really cool.
And once again, because not all of my listeners are super duper in the know as far as beer, we're not talking about the pop star. A completely different person. I mean, I guess he's a rock star in his own right.
He's a rock star in my heart. He's the real Michael
He's a
Jackson.
god.
We're going to. I mean, I've got these glasses. I'm staring right at them. I mean, this section is literally called Drinkin Beer. So
I'm literally getting it.
I feel like I need to drink a beer.
Tell you what we're gonna be drinking.
Yeah, what are we drinking?
Well, I think we'll start with the passion fruit, which is Floras passion fruit. This is at our brewery. Like I mentioned, the 3 main beers we do, those are our core brands. The Tremens, the Red, and the Nocturnal. Those are our core brands. We also do Delirium Noel, which is our Christmas offering.
Yeah, I love that
and
beer.
we've also started doing kind of a summer seasonal, which is called Deliria. And that one it actually was brewed last Saturday in Belgium. It's a beer that we brew for women, by women. We actually fly female brewers from all over the world to brew together at
Very
Delirium.
cool. When is that going to be released?
They release it in Europe on International Women's Day, which is March 8th, and then we get it here in the States about Mother's Day, right before Mother's Day.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
cool.
that's perfect.
But you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find it at Coaster's Pub
Yeah.
for Belgian Beer Fest.
Yeah, it will be here.
Oh, really?
Yes,
What?
yes.
So you guys have it early?
I have a keg of last year's. That's
No way.
It's still tasting absolutely
That is
delicious.
awesome.
Yeah. It's a little more Chardonnay-like than the Tremens. I was starting to say we brew over 100 different beers at the brewery. Some of them are like contract brews for different countries. The one we're going to taste right now is called Floras Passion Fruit, and that was actually brewed for France originally. So we're starting to trickle some of these
there you
kegs
go.
in over here. And
We're
try
just
to get
talking
more
about how
exposure.
French beer is so hard to find.
Yeah.
It's underrepresented here in the U.S. Yeah, for sure.
Although I guess it's not a French beer, but it's
Well, you know, it's
but it was brewed
Brewed
with
for
the
the
French
French.
flavors in
Yeah.
mind. So
I will say, just kind of off the cuff with this one, as soon as I smelled it, I got this like stupid grin on my face, like
me
the,
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's-
it's got a nose
It's
to
packed
it.
my
full
gosh.
of, packed full of
I mean,
passion fruit.
Really.
This is a pretty new beer to the U.S., right? For
Yes,
import
yeah,
wise.
yeah. Brand we brought it in like last quarter.
Does this fall under? Is it like a subsidiary of Delirium, like, or is it actually brewed by them?
It is brewed at Delirium.
It is, okay.
Like we have a massive facility. They've kind of purchased up some of the breweries that were in existence right around Melee and Ghent that kind of went under, and they're trying to revitalize a couple. And one of them is called Campus, which is a pilsner that I'd love to get here in the States sometime.
Yeah.
that was brewed for the college in Ghent.
Oh,
like
cool,
they
cool.
put that one around the bar, or
Yeah.
in the bars right around.
I was actually
college.
wondering why it was called campus. I thought maybe it was like a weird spelling or something.
No.
No, it's called that because it was near
Yeah.
The
college.
campus.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Krampus.
I was honestly thinking Krampus or something like
Yeah.
that too.
This is great though. It's
Yeah.
almost like it almost tastes like a sour shandy,
It's very tart, which
but it's also got a sweet backbone
it's
to it.
definitely not a sour, but it is very tart. The
It's got
passion fruit
great
flavors they use in there, all natural flavors. It's
Yeah, you can't fake that. I mean, it tastes like somebody squeezed a passion fruit into my
It's like
glass.
a fresh tart, not like a
it's
chemical tart.
exactly. Yeah, it doesn't
very
have that
refreshing for Florida,
Very
for hot
refreshing,
weather and
yeah.
stuff.
chemical-
And
This
it's
is a great Florida beer.
the base beer is a wheat beer that is 3.6% alcohol, so it's low in alcohol, but very refreshing.
This is perfect Florida beer.
Yeah.
Is it blended? Is it blended with the passion fruit juice after the beer's been brewed? Do you know?
I don't know the exacts on that. I believe so, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
I don't want to give out bad
I
information.
just feel because the lower ABV,
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. Even though
it's got so much flavor to it. Yeah.
and then plus passion fruit does have some sugar of its own. So if it started getting
Oh, it
fermented,
ferment out.
it would,
Yeah.
it would kind of
Would maybe
it would
reduce
change
I
it.
like at the brewery I was there last year. They have a machine just to infuse the flavors into the beer, and they have a whole schedule of on a calendar next to it of what they're going to be doing
Really?
day to day.
It's like
Yeah,
a giant Randall kind of.
Just
I think so.
with this Floras brand, I mean, there's probably close to 15 different flavors that we do. I think
really?
one of them is called Cactus, like it's cactus flavored beer.
How many of those do you get here, though?
Really good too.
Right, we just kind of trickle them in a little bit. Like we'll usually do one of them per quarter. So this was quarter four's beer, and then right now we have Floras Framboise, which is raspberries. And actually today I'm finalizing my pre-orders for quarter two, and that one's going to be Moganzo, which is another brand that we do. That one's mainly for Brazil, but they have a coconut beer that Dave's kind of in love with.
Yeah, it's really really good. It's beachy.
I'm big into the coconut. I mean, does it have a good coconut nose?
It tastes like you just walked into a touristy surf shop. It's got that into.
Oh, it'll work out great here.
I would say that's. I mean, if you guys,
I'm a coconut freak.
Yeah,
like I love everything coconut, and I'm serious. I do. Everybody makes fun of me because I like the big stouts that have coconut flavors to them.
Oh yeah,
and
a bunch of great ones out there.
Like to me, I don't get everybody kind of when they talk about coconut in the beer, they kind of talk about the suntan lotion kind of thing. I usually don't get that from the beers, but this one is I mean, it's amazing. Like the coconut is like so intense, it's crazy.
So Dave, do you always have whatever his Floras beer is?
Yes, he does. No.
Usually, I mean, it's definitely in rotation. Yeah. Delirium Red.
So people want to try it. There's a good chance you'll have something.
Red is pretty much a full-time beer for us now. We got the first half barrel, I think, ever in the U.S. last year. It was kind of a test for the Belgian Beer Fest and worked out well.
It's really good.
So yeah,
like honestly,
so you'll find
very
Red on a
happy with
full-time and then a rotator from Brewery Brewery Huga, which is the brewery name for Delirium. I'm so glad you just call it Delirium, though.
Yeah.
So much easier.
It's,
way less confusing.
And spelling it's not very easy either.
Oh my gosh.
H-U-Y-G-H-E.
Easy
Oh, wow.
for you.
Yeah, I would not have said
You
it
look like
that
your
way.
brain hurt a tiny bit right after you finished spelling.
His nose actually started to bleed a little bit.
And that's a family name. Huga was the original owner's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where in Belgium is it?
It's in a little village called Melee.
Cool.
And it's
A lot of fighting
Melle. And pretty much the entire village is, I mean, it's taken up by not the entire village, but pretty much everybody that lives in that village. Everybody that lives in that village pretty much works.
It's like Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
So it's probably, half
we
hour,
are not
45
that high
minutes from
class.
Brussels?
Do not say Downton Abbey on the show.
Yeah, right about half an hour from, 45 minutes from Brussels.
Have you visited, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sir. Yeah. Great place. And Ghent is an amazing little city.
Yeah,
That's my favorite city.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ghent and Bruges are the two cities that weren't bombed in the World Wars.
Yeah,
and so they have all the old structures and bridges. And it's
That's
just
awesome.
both of them are really, really beautiful, but Bruges is a little bit more touristy, where Ghent is like nobody really knows about.
Cool,
So
really.
It's a good spot to hit up.
I just saw the
A
movie.
hidden gem.
I saw the movie In Bruges recently. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And just after watching that movie, I was like, man, what
I
the
watched
heck?
it as soon as I got back from Bruges.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's a really
Just to
good
see if
movie.
I could recognize places.
Did you
and stuff
recognize
like that?
it?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
I would say the closest claim to fame I can say is I did an interview with Schlafly Brewing up in St. Louis, and they told me that part of the movie Escape from New York, the 1981 movie, was actually, most of it was filmed in East St. Louis. So it's supposed to be post-apocalyptic New York. So St. Louis is.
I can see that.
Was it the early 80s?
It was 1980.
St. Louis was a bombed out shell at the time.
Schlafly didn't open up until 1991. The building that became the Schlafly Brew House, Snake runs by it in one scene. Yeah. And so you can actually see it. I watched that movie again recently once I found that out, and I would like pause and like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with this place. Oh yeah.
I sat right there.
So, but I mean, this was St. Louis in the early 80s, which, I mean, they've done a lot to make it better now, but, you know, they've cleaned up a lot of stuff downtown. But it is funny, like, recognizing some buildings and things like that. Yeah. So, not as cool as Bruges, but, you know, but still.
Get half credit.
Definitely not.
I do get half credit there.
So you want to move on to the second beer?
Yeah.
All right.
You couldn't stop me if you tried.
The second beer that we're going to try, like I mentioned before, is the Delirium Red. This is our newest full-time core brand. It's basically the Delirium Tremens, which is an 8.5% Belgian strong golden ale.
Yeah.
Real tight carbonation, almost like a champagne carbonation in the Tremens. And it's just super easy to drink. Like, it's just awesome. I love that beer.
I mean, I get fresh cherries right on the nose.
But it's got a little spice to it, too.
So the base beer is the Tremens, and they've added cherries from Poland. The original batch had cherries from Belgium, but it was just a little too sweet for the U.S. market. So they changed the cherries up, changed the recipe, and they got cherries from Poland, and then they also put elderberries in it. So that's
is that what that dryness is at the end, the elderberries?
Yep.
I like it.
And
it's got a tiny little bite.
Full of antioxidants, so it's good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've ever grabbed berries fresh from a bush or whatever.
Yeah.
They always do have that kind of a berry-esque flavor. I don't. But it's almost
You're
a
doing
texture.
a terrible job of
I don't know. But it's a texture.
No,
almost.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And it has that, like you can tell they use
soft
real berries.
Yeah.
It has that texture at the end.
Yeah.
Really
So it's also still 8% alcohol. So like I said earlier, I think it's like one of the strongest fruit beers that I'm aware of out in the market.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it goes. I mean, it's awesome.
I mean, Four Loko strawberry flavor is a little bit stronger.
Fruit beer.
That's fruit beer, right?
I had a Four Loko for the first time like a month ago, and they're huge for one thing. And by the end of it, I almost threw up. It made me feel sick. I have a second one. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it now. Awful.
It's like Kool-Aid and arsenic.
It's like
really weird. It's really what it is.
It's very chemically.
It's
like,
crazy.
This beer, is my Four Loko.
This beer is one of our fastest growers right now. We just started putting in cans this past year. You can get that in a 16-ounce can, 4-packs.
So you could probably age this at that alcohol level, right?
I mean, I wouldn't hold on for a real long time. I mean, you could definitely age it, but it's going to separate a little bit, and you'll get some sedimentation.
Oh, really?
In there. Yeah.
I've tried aging Tremens for 5 years and don't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I would say 2 to 3 years, you're good.
See, I always thought like, what is it, like the 4 S's? This was a strength, spice, sour, and something else.
Shave. No, it's a 3. Shower shave. No, sorry, that's different.
I can't remember the other one. It doesn't matter. I feel like it's got the spice. Tremens has the spice, and it's got the strong.
I mean, it won't be bad at 5 years. It won't be bad. It's not
totally drinkable. It turned kind of a cloudy orange on me. Philippe, I was talking to Philippe de Volder, who's the brewer, and he says that his favorite is like 6 months to a year is his sweet spot.
I like it fresh too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it loses a little bit of its. It just tends to get a little bit more malty. It's just not as fresh and as exciting.
Now, what about the Nocturnal? Would that one age well?
Yeah,
yes,
that does.
Yeah. Nocturnal is my favorite out of the 3. That's my go-to. Like, I mean, I drink the most of Tremens, and I really love the red, and I kind of switch back and forth to like break up the monotony.
But these are great for both of these are great for, and they both have that light flavor. But once again, one of them's 3.5, and one's 8 and change.
Yeah.
So just realize which one you're drinking and drink responsibly on that one.
And the color of the red is like, I mean, it's a nice red burgundy color.
You actually mentioned this a little bit offline. Something that you can do in conjunction with this.
Are we legal to talk about that?
I guess so. I mean, I'm okay with you talking about it. So
with Valentine's Day coming up, I've really been kind of pushing when I'm out in the market, like talking to bars and restaurants. Like, mixing the Delirium Red with a little shot of peanut butter whiskey, Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
I am down.
Make it like a peanut butter and jelly beer cocktail or beer shot or however you like to take
It's like the fanciest Boilermaker ever.
Yeah, it's pretty. Usually when people taste it, like when they first think about it, they're like, nah, I don't think that's gonna be good. But when they taste it, they're like, oh my god, I can't believe.
Do you just blend it right in? Just pour a little bit right in?
We do. Yeah. Like my wife and I, when we were out to dinner last weekend, and I think we had a Tremens. Each of us had a Tremens to drink, and then we split a can of red and did 2 shots of the Screwball.
That is awesome.
That was awesome.
That's a great idea. I've mentioned it probably multiple times on the podcast. But mixing whiskey and beer in general is always a good idea.
That Screwball.
I mean,
always a good idea.
There's so many different combinations, and you get so many different results. Dark beer, light beer, wheat beers. And if you ever have a beer that's terrible, put a little bit of whiskey in it. And I'm not kidding you. It changes it.
It's great. It's greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll buy beer and I'll realize, oh my gosh, this is an IPA and it was 2018 or something. So all the hop flavors falling out. Put a little whiskey in it and it becomes good. I'm serious.
It's crazy.
Never a bad idea.
Never a bad idea.
I mean, that's a direct quote from David here.
That's right.
The Screwball whiskey by itself, I don't know if I'm a huge advocate for it by itself. It's very syrupy and,
I still haven't
sweet.
had it. People always talk about it.
But when you mix a little bit of tartness with the red, it kind of cuts that sweetness a little bit. It mixes up really well.
Cool.
We'll be doing shots of that at the Belgian Fest.
That's right. All right. Peanut butter shots.
Can you get the Screwball by then?
We can.
Now, Screwball is a Belgian whiskey, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
I'll bring my own bottle. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome. Both of those
so
are
in addition
good.
to these 2 beers, what you'll find at Belgian Beer Fest, you'll find a really rare one. We got in a keg of this is Delirium Nocturnum Barrel Aged.
Yeah, it's a process. They actually barrel age the Nocturnum and they barrel age the Noel in Buffalo Trace barrels for 9 months each.
Wow.
And then they blend the 2 together, and it is ridiculous.
Oh, man, that sounds so good.
I think it's like 11.9% alcohol, and it's just I'm very judgmental, I guess, on my whiskey beers. Like when you have a barrel aged beer, like there's some out there that I think are just completely watered down, and I don't really see the point of it.
You're not getting anything out of it. Yeah.
But this one is, it's amazing.
I feel like you need kind of a hearty beer to pack on that extra flavor.
Oh yeah.
So you're not going to throw something fizzy, light yellow, and barrel age that. That's just a bad idea.
Of course, yeah.
But, I mean, so anything.
Bud idea, you said?
It's a bud idea.
Did they do that a couple times?
They probably have.
I did hear
trying to keep up here.
My stepdad, he always said, Bud Light will make you lighter, but Budweiser will make you wiser. So,
very nice.
I don't know how true that is.
I feel like maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much.
All right, so next, Dave is bringing out the exotic meat burgers. Now I'm like,
right.
He was like, I'm doing what now?
and it was lion this time. He actually did find some lion. Well, actually, the Brevard Zoo doesn't have lion yet. They got cheetah. We probably
goes fast.
Just put Cheetos all over it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You thought that was cheetah? That was a typo. It was actually Cheeto burger.
Cheetos.
Cheeto burger.
I would eat a Cheeto burger. I'm not wrong.
That was awesome. So it's actually been a great treat to have Troy along. I've not talked directly to a distributor. I think this could be something I would be happy to get a distributor in here. The whole reason I do this podcast is really to put a face or at least a voice or a name, kind of a personality to the beer you drink or your favorite watering hole in this particular case. So to see that there are even more faces, voices, stories kind of behind the scenes, kind of neat. I mean, because people don't realize, when you're getting a beer from a brewery, you're not getting it from that brewery unless you physically are going to the brewery. You're not getting it directly from there.
Not in Florida, at least.
Especially in Florida, yeah. So
you're
not going to get it. So especially a Belgian beer, unless you're going to Belgium, how is it going to get here? That company oftentimes isn't just sending it by themselves and all that stuff. I mean, there is a structure.
Well, even when you have your local brewery on tap at some with Dragon Point here, it's not like Intracoastal has gone out to all these different bars all over and convinced them to. There's a distributor that does that works hard for your brand to get them into different places and stuff like that. I think it's an important part of the process that a lot of people don't think twice about. But
I mean, if they had pink elephant stickers, then they could definitely get sold anywhere.
it's
a
big difference. It
I'm
really
pretty
does.
happy with my pink elephant stickers. Pinky the pink elephant.
Pinky.
Yeah, man.
Not to be confused with the flamingo. There was something.
Oh
we
yeah,
did-
that's right. That
we
was,
did
he
it.
was Pinky.
We did on another episode where if you just type in your birthday, not the date, not the year, if you type in your birthday and then you follow it with Florida Man, up on like a newsfeed on Google, it'll be like whatever.
What
thing.
crazy thing
so
happened
my,
on your
so
birthday?
my birthday is June 26th, and June 26th, I think it was 2018, maybe is
Yeah.
when it happened. It said June 26th, Florida man who killed beloved flamingo Pinky was hit and killed by a vehicle before he could be.
At Busch Gardens, I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah,
Wow.
this guy
This
went
guy
to Busch.
murdered this bird
That is
in
a-
public
that is
at
a-
Busch Gardens.
That's a Florida story for
Yeah,
sure.
Very Florida man.
a beloved dancing
Dancing
flamingo.
flamingo, yes.
named Pinky.
Super weird.
So not that
sad
Pinky.
day.
It's going to take a lot more than a 150-pound guy to take over an elephant.
Pinky's not going down that easy.
This Pinky will not go down that easy. Even though the beer will go down very easy.
There you go. There's the tie-in right
Hey.
there.
Well, it's been a pleasure having everybody on here. I think this is pretty good time. Oh my gosh, I'm still tasting those flavors. It's so stinking good.
That's what's great about you. You're so used to the flavors from all of the craft breweries in the U.S., but you get such a different set of flavors from international breweries, especially ones that have been doing it for a long time. It's like they've mastered it.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same. You can't
No,
replicate it.
That's 100% true. They've been doing it for a long, long time, and I mean, they got it down to a science.
And I like the fact that two beers are, one is 3.6%, one is 8%. You don't taste, even the light beer, you don't feel like you're missing anything.
I would love to do a side by side and have a bunch of people trying both and pick which one is higher. I bet you it would be pretty even
Yeah.
split. It's tough to tell. That's pretty cool.
I mean, well, the amount of character in the lower alcohol one, you don't care.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, if you're buying beer only for the amount of alcohol, and that's your only reason, well, then you've got probably other issues to worry about.
And don't drive.
And don't drive. Don't drive if you're that person.
If you're that guy, take an Uber. Brought to you by Uber.
Yeah. One
All right.
day.
Well, once again, everyone, you need to get your butts down here to Coasters. I mean, you can come today, but if you come today, you wouldn't have heard this podcast telling you to come today. But come the day that you hear this podcast, but also make sure you're here for the Belgian Beer Fest. That's once again going to be February 28th. 29th, yes, there is a February 29th this year.
Ooh.
Leap year. So it's like a free day, right?
It is. It doesn't
It's
count.
it's a
It doesn't
free beer
count.
day. Yeah.
Free beer day?
Whoa, hang on now.
So yes, once again, the 28th,
Perhaps
the
not the best
29th,
words to use.
and March 1st, I will be here. My co-host David won't be here.
I'm going to be in France.
He'll be in
Actually,
Europe.
Wow.
I've never been so upset to
I know.
leave the country.
We got all sorts of cool things happening.
Sucks.
In those,
Belgium's
like,
just right
3
next door,
days.
though.
I know. All 3 days. It's like the worst timing.
Oh man, we got Pink Floyd playing in the background. I mean, this is a perfect day.
Pinky Floyd.
Pinky Floyd, that's it. Come to Coasters, 971 East O'Galley Boulevard, right there at the end of the O'Galley Causeway, A1A. And you can find them on Facebook at Coasters Pub, coasterspub.com. And once again, if it wasn't for beer, you wouldn't be here.
This has been a Getting to Know Brews presentation.